All right, take your bolster or whatever you're using as your bolster, put it across your mat, and then a blanket or pillow about 5-6 inches away from that. Sit on your right side and then lower yourself down onto the bolster. You can see my right shoulder and arm are going to fit right in that space. Now, I can drop my head onto this blanket. For me, that feels like the head has gone a little too far, so I might just make that blanket, that pillow a little thicker. Yeah, that feels better for my neck. Now, my top arm, in this case my left arm, I'm going to reach it overhead. For me, the fingertips come onto the ground. If they don't, you can put your hand on a block. So the anatomical term is lateral flexion. In yoga, we say side bend. Right? I'm opening up the whole left flank of the body. And my top leg, in this case my left leg, I'm going to start to straighten it. So my left leg and my left arm are reaching away from each other. And then I'm going to sort of, like a pendulum might move, I'm going to move this left foot, left leg back and forth. That's a little more active, a little more vigorous, quote unquote vigorous, right? So we're restorative. Or knees together, feels much more like a big full exhalation. Restorative classes for me are like a bad news, good news scenario each time. So the bad news is we have to move out of this particular pose. Good news is we get to do another one. We're going to move to the other side. So push down, come on up. And turn around, face away from the bolster. Your left shoulder now and left arm, I'll try and talk a little loud so you can hear me, are in this gap in between bolster. Pillow thick enough to hold the head in place, right? You don't want the head way up here. You don't want it dropped way down there. So enough that the neck can relax into that. And you can start with bent legs. Top arm, reach it overhead. You can imagine I might use a block here for this hand here, or fingertips on the ground. As the underside of my body gets compressed, so my left lung here gets compressed, my right lung then inflates or dilates even more. So the emphasis here is on the breathing apparatus on the right side and the elongation, all this side flank of the body. I can straighten right leg. And try sort of moving it back a little bit. And try sliding it forward. Your big toe can sort of make a little happy face, smile, crescent moon. Bring yourself back up. Okay. A little prop adjusting. Rotate your bolster so it's in the center of your mat. Again, the blanket folded so that it sort of mimics the overall shape of your bolster. It gives the bolster a little more thickness. Lightly squeeze it between inner thighs and knees. Walk myself forward and down, pelvis descending back, hands and arms elongating, torso forward. Wiggle, wiggle, as my young son Kai would say. I'll start with right side of face on the bolster so you can hear me a little better. I'm going to try and position my arms such that they're on the ground, shoulders relaxing as best as possible. That was my body's natural, organic response to going into child's pose, forward bend. This sensation of relief that my body felt, sort of like when you've been carrying around a big, heavy backpack all day long, and you get home and you finally set it down. And there'll be a little clip on alternative versions of child's pose, using chairs or a sideline version. If your knees, your hips, your ankles, your feet, if they can manage this, wonderful. Settle in. Breathing into back lungs. Palms underneath your shoulders. Ground through your legs, ground through your hands. You can come up a little bit or a little bit more. Then re-elongating spine. I'm going to be silent for the next couple minutes for the second side. I'm going to be turning away from you. Spine twists, elongates, and then rests. Imagine a little baby elephant sitting right here on my lower back, grounding down. Bringing your palms underneath your shoulders, grounding through the hands, grounding through your legs. Oh, I really didn't want to come up. I wanted to stay there for the rest of the afternoon. come to sit. And the bolster, for now, will stay there. Straighten your legs. Right side of your hips right up against the bolster. You're going to lean into your right side. Swing your legs to the left. Right. They can rest like this, or if you can, sort of the bottom part of this leg rotates so the top of the foot and the toenails here are on the ground. And see how the shin rests here in the bottom arch. I come onto my fingertips, lift, expand, lengthen. Getting a little foot cramp here. Now, sort of a forward bend and twist. I'm elongating. I can turn my head to the right. If your neck or shoulders, if that's too intense, you can still get a fair amount of twists like this. But I'm going to go ahead and rotate all the way around, resting the left side of my face on this bolster, resting my arms down. So it's a passive pose in the way that you're relaxing. From time to time, though, let your feet, let your legs sort of ground down. And just notice even that word, or the thought of grounding feet and legs, how that creates maybe more lift, more length through your body. Right? Always lengthening as we move into twist. When you're ready to come out, use the strength of your arms, the grounding of your legs. Feel how your spine untwists, uncoils as you come back up. So you're going to turn away from your bolster. And you'll straighten your legs, your lower back right up against the edge of the bolster. Wow. I should really do this more often. We're going to do that same pose to the other side. So I'm going to turn away from you for a moment. Left hip right up against the bolster. You can see I love this sequence because the props just stay there and we just reposition ourselves. I'm going to lean to my left, swivel my legs to the right. Frame the bolster, so hands on each side. Ground through feet and legs. Lift the belly, lift the chest. Elongate, 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 rotate, rotate, and rest. You often find that you have to sort of wiggle around a little bit, move around, so you find that sweet spot. You might need to keep a tissue on hand if you start to drool on yourself here. Feels like my arms need to widen out a little bit for my shoulders to relax. feeling your feet. Lengthening, lifting torso. Sort of slow releasing into deeper twist. Palms underneath your shoulders, ground through feet and legs. Rise on up. Just going to position this blanket across the back of the bolster now. Turning back to bolster again, straighten legs. Position this back a little bit. Blocks on each side, soles of feet together, cobblers or Baddha Konasana. I'm going to angle the blocks like so to catch the weight of the legs. But in fact, pillows can work much better than blocks. Blocks only have a couple size options. Pillows gives you a lot more possibility. So tuck the bolster down underneath you a little bit. Lift yourself, sort of like a high jumper, go up and over and back. I have to reposition this pillow a little bit so it's underneath the back of my head. And I think I need a little bit more thickness in the pillow. Some of you might need to fold that a couple times. I'm going to try maybe one more time, just a little bit more height. Something like this. That feels a little too thick. I'll go back to the original. Now, a couple more refinements here. As we've done in other classes, mostly in constructive rest pose, see if you can lift your pelvis up a little bit. Take your hands like spatulas. Take the upper part of the butt, slide it away from the lower back. It brings a little bit more length, less curve in the lumbar. Reposition my arms, wiggle around a little bit until they feel relaxed. Now, soles of feet together, legs rest onto the support. I'm not trying to stretch anything here in the inner thighs. Don't want sensation per se here. It's not about stretching. A little bit of a downward slope from nose to chin to chest to navel. So in this series we have several different versions of reclined cobblers. Any of those could be a go-to pose. You'll figure out your favorites, utilize those as often as you need, as often as you can. Soften back of your body onto the bolster. Relax the weight of your legs onto whatever props you're using underneath them. The weight of your head fall back onto the pillow. Notice your breath. So we're staying just a few minutes today in this version of reclined collars. If you have more time, please hit pause, stay longer. We'll transition now into our final pose. Let the blocks drop down, hold underneath your legs, lift the knees towards each other. And then you'll straighten your legs. This is a version, we haven't done this version of Shavasana yet together. And this might feel either really, really good on your back, or it might feel like way too much at this point, especially after that previous pose. So you can opt either to stay here, or turn to your side, lie flat on your back with the bolster underneath your knees, right? It's another way of supporting the body in Shavasana, corpse pose. I'm going to stay here for the last little bit of class. Relaxing legs. Let your body drape over the supports. Notice your breath. The great yoga teacher Iyengar said, on the inhalation, breath travels from heavens to earth. On exhalation, from the earth back to the heavens. In the reclined position, the inhalation traveling from crown to soles of feet. And exhalation from soles of feet back up towards the crown. While you rest a little bit longer in supported Shavasana, I'm going to come out so I can chant for you. I'll be coming up to sit, but please stay reclined a bit longer. Of course, anytime that you are transitioning out of restorative poses, especially ones you've been in for longer periods of time, think of coming out as also part of your meditation. So you want to retain or maintain the sense of relaxation, that sense of peace and ease in your body. And you want to carry that with you into the next pose or into your life off the mat. I'm going to come up to sit. And as this class, as I thought about it, and hopefully all the people out there who suffer from chronic back pain and discomfort, and in some cases have stopped doing things that they love doing, mothers, firefighters, your fathers, your uncles. Pray that all of you find relief with these classes and with this series. Right? And the mantra that best sort of captures that sentiment. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Thank you so much. Namaste. Namaste.